Alright, in this video we have all of our construction blocks modeled from previous videos, so if you need to check those out, you can always go back and check those in the playlist. But here we're going to show you how to put these into a drawing and how to kind of get those set up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go up here to File. I want to select New Drawing from Design. And the other way you can do this too is you can go ahead and select Design, go down to Drawing, and select from Design as well. So the first thing it's going to ask you is what kind of drawing do you want to go with. So I have a template that I use with my classes, so rather than saying from scratch, I can browse, and in my data panel I actually have a set of title blocks that I use. So I'm going to just select this A size kind of title block for my template type that I want to use, and I'm just going to go ahead and select OK. So you'll have to ask your teacher if you want to go through and have a different, if they have a different title block they want you to use, or if you're just going to use the standard one that comes in Fusion. So with this one, here's what ends up happening is that we get loaded in here, and this is our paper that we would end up having with our title block and our information. So what I'm going to do is you're going to see over here in your browser, you're going to see that there is the name of our file with all of our construction blocks. So I'm actually going to right click on this name, and I want to select base view, which is going to create a view of the reference design. So when I do that, right now here's where it's set to front. If for a lot of times I like to just set mine in a northeast isometric, and right now this scaling is set to 1 to 8. If we go 1 to 1, you can see that's really kind of the scale that I would like, but 1 to 1 scale, it's going to run off the page. But here's what we're going to do just to show you some methods. I'm going to go ahead and just left click to place this view. The other thing too is in the style, I like to go ahead and set this to shaded because I want to see the colors, and if you want to improve the quality, we can always change that here in a moment. But I'm going to go ahead and just select OK. So this is running off the page. For my students, this would be a no-go as far as this has. So here's what I'm going to do is right now over here in the browser, this is the base view that we have. So right now we're seeing the cube, the rectangular prism, and if you just move your cursor over them, you can see these views get highlighted. So actually, here's what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to uncheck all the circular blocks, so that way I don't have them, and all the triangular ones. So I kind of want all the rectangular ones to kind of be in their own like little quadrant. And what I'm going to do is once I have that set up, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to collapse this view that we have. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to create another view to show off some of the other blocks. So I'm going to go up here to base view in the ribbon, and it's going to end up going through and it shows me, hey, I can set another base view. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go ahead and select the northeast isometric. I want to do shaded, and I do want to do a 1 to 1 scale. And I'm just going to go ahead and click to place this like so and say OK. And here's what's going to happen. You're going to see we've got construction blocks version 6, which is how many times we've saved it, and then there's a 1, and then we have construction blocks version 6 2. So this is the second view, which you'll see when I select it, it highlights over here in the part. So here's another really handy tool is I want to go through and maybe I just want to show one block. So I can go through and I can right click on any of these names, and one of the real big time savers with this is suppress all except selected. So it's going to uncheck all these other boxes, and then it just shows one cube. So if you don't want to go through and have these set up like this, you can also do it where these are just kind of all the way around. You know, you can go ahead and place them here. So if you don't want to do that, same thing like here, if I don't want to go through and have to do that, it's like, all right, here's a cube, there's our triangular block, and I could go through and set up some other views. Now I kind of like having these all set up in these particular parts here, but that's kind of what goes on. So not really sure why this view is getting cut off, but maybe I just need to update it. There we go. So as far as that goes, same thing here. If I double left click on any of the views, I can also make any changes. But over here in your browser, like if I expand, let's say I want to add the wedge in here as well. So I can just check that box next to the wedge name, and that would also go through and show up as well. So, all right, last part would be maybe let's go ahead and take a look at the creating another base view for our circular ones. Again, I would probably go with a northeast isometric. We would probably go shaded, and I like to go through and have a 1-to-1 scale. And here you'll kind of see these are like where the circular ones are at. So we'll click to place it. Over here we have our third view. If I just start toggling off all the ones that I don't need, here we go. Collapse that. Here's our one. So looks like Fusion's being a little bit interesting with some of the things. So you may experience some of this. If you need to, you can always do like what I did, is I change it to the top, and then or any of the other views, and then try to get it to respond. There we go. That looks a lot better. So Fusion does some kind of funny things. You can always go through and try to do some different stuff. So here's what might be the best thing. Let's put our triangular blocks down here. Let's try to put the circular ones there. They kind of fit a little bit better. Or even like this. And that'll go through and show those particular blocks off. Some of these ones, if you double left click, if you want to improve the view quality, we'll see what kind of operation that this does. There we go. So it does seem like it does go through and kind of make a little bit of a difference, a little bit clearer. There we go. But this would go through, and if I click on fit, this drawing would be maybe something you would turn in to your instructor, so that way they would see that you modeled all these, and it would be proof that you created them. When you're done, you can go ahead and go up here to export PDF. It will ask you what sheets do you want to go through. Since this is the only sheet in your file, you can say all sheets, and you can check the line weights, or I usually leave them on, and you can say OK. And then you can go ahead and it's going to ask you where do you want to save this drawing to. So I would probably go through and maybe call this construction blocks. Probably want to put your name in there somewhere. So we'll put use construction blocks drawing. I'll save this drawing, and then what will happen is the PDF will generate here in a moment. Once that happens. So again, make sure you hit save. Use construction blocks drawing. I'll select save as well. So you'll see that change will appear up here in the title. If we export to PDF, you know, it'll ask you if you want to change where that this gets loaded. So you'll see right now it says save to my computer to downloads. If you select the three little dots icon, you can choose where you would like those to be. You can see that's where it went to be saved to, but if I click the desktop or somewhere else, you can go through and do some of that as well. So, all right, this is going to wrap up the top-down modeling and then creating a drawing for the construction blocks playlist. So if you have any other issues or anything like that, please talk to your teacher. I'm sure they'll be able to help you out with needing any sort of files for submission.